Hello, everyone. This is Adam Whitty welcoming you to this month's Author Success University teleseminar presented by Advantage Media Group, a leading publisher of business, self-improvement, and professional development books. Every month, our Author Success University teleseminar provides how-to information for authors. We teach you how to write, publish, monetize, and most importantly, how to market your book for maximum results to grow your business. Often, as is the case today, we feature highly successful Advantage authors who will share their story of how they've built their business and grown their credibility by being the author of a book. Today, my guest is Dave Ramos, founder and CEO of ShiftPoints, a strategy and consulting firm based out of Washington, D.C. Dave is also the author of two Advantage titles, Decide One Thing and ShiftPoints. On today's teleseminar, Dave and I are going to discuss how he's used his book to successfully grow his business and how he's used the book to launch an innovative new partnership program. And he uses his book to build a collective of consultants who share his methodologies with clients all around the globe. But before we get started, let me tell you just a little bit more about our guest. Dave Ramos is the founder and CEO of ShiftPoints, and prior to founding ShiftPoints, Dave built differentiation-driven organizations in a broad range of settings, including large global corporations and venture-backed startups, and also innovative nonprofits. Dave has an MBA from Harvard Business School and a BS in accounting from Drexel University. Dave also serves on the board of directors for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Golf Ministry and for Workforce Ministries. Dave is a sought-after speaker and engages audience with his humorous yet challenging style. He has spoken at organizations such as the Harvard Business School, Nyack College, Vistage, the CXO Forum, AOL, and many churches and ministries around the country. Dave is good at a lot of things, but he'll be the first to tell you he's working to become differentiatingly great at his one thing. Dave, welcome to the call, and thanks so much for sharing your wisdom with our authors today.
Thank you, Autumn. It's great to be here.
So Dave, I want to start first by having you share with our listeners a little bit more about your book. And specifically, I'm doing that for one reason, because the content and the theme of your book is not only apropos for an author, but as they begin to market their book and also position their business through their book, the concepts and teachings contained in the pages of your book could be extremely helpful. So maybe you could share with our listeners the big idea behind your book.
Well, I would love to do that, but first I just want to thank you for featuring me on this call, and thank your entire team. As you know, Adam, I had originally hired a different publisher to work with. And after months of frustrating experience of working with them, I fired them and went with Advantage. And your entire team has been nothing short of exceptional. And I'm so pleased to have worked with you not only on the first book and the second book, but I'm looking forward to doing number 3 with Advantage as well.
Well, thank you for those kind words, and it's certainly been our honor to see you not only have a great book, but most importantly, how to get results from it, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, the first book that we published is called Decide One Thing. The basic premise is simple, that organizations have to be good at lots of things, but the way to win is to create a differentiating competitive advantage by being great at one thing. And so this is what executive teams need to decide. What's our one thing? What's going to be our competitive advantage, and how are we going to differentiate ourselves from the hundreds or thousands of other competitors in our space? And that's what the book's about.
Well, you know, when you were in Charleston, you and I had a nice visit, and I had shared with you that one of the seminal books in my business career that's made a huge impact was titled The Discipline of Market Leaders. And that book, which is now well over 20 years old, certainly supports the context of what you're saying, that too many organizations, whether it be a business or a nonprofit, or even just a small mom and pop shop, they try to be good at everything, and by doing that, they actually become mediocre at everything and unrecognizable for that one thing that could truly set them apart from everybody else.
That's right. So in the discipline of market leaders, I very much remember our conversation, and you're mentioning the use of customer intimacy as the thing that would differentiate advantage from all of the competitors that you have. And as one of your customers, I can validate that that's been true for me, because it's one thing to make a promise about what your differentiated advantage is going to be. It's a whole other thing to deliver it. And so I've experienced that from you. And customer intimacy is just one of 40 different ways that companies can create a differentiating competitive advantage. And as you mentioned, the hard part is that you have to decide. If you try to be all things to all people, you'll never break through. As we tell people, dabbling never wins. It's far better to dominate one market than to dabble in a dozen of them.
So Dave, here's a question on this topic. Many Advantage authors are entrepreneurs and CEOs. Even more of them are professionals, so they own and run accounting firms or law firms, or they may have a medical practice or be a dentist or a chiropractor. And, you just have to look in the phone book and you could find dozens, if not hundreds, of all of those people in any community. So it seems pretty intuitive that decide one thing and be different from everybody else. Of course, we make that argument when saying that's one of the reasons why you should be an author, because it creates dramatic differentiation. But on the surface, it's easy to understand, yet so few organizations actually do it. I mean, what have you found is the reason or reasons that actually keep people from doing this?
Well, you're right. Whether you're an individual solopreneur or you're Walmart or anything in between, you have to create this differentiating competitive advantage. And every business textbook and dozens of other books have made the point that this is true. But number one, often they don't tell you how to do it. And in our book, we tell you exactly how to do it. The second is that people are afraid that once they position themselves around a particular advantage, competitive advantage, that won't appeal to everyone and that it will therefore limit their market. In fact, that is true, that it will limit your market. But counterintuitively, that's exactly what you should do. Because if you try to be all things to all people, you will, as you said, Adam, be mediocre at all of those things. And so what we advise people to do is to, in effect, plant their flag, declare who they are, and then be that and be great at it. Be unique, be different, and and then use that as a way, as a catalyst for institutionalized organizational greatness. Now, we've worked with chiropractors, with dentists, with realtors. So in the town that I live in, there's over 1,000 realtors. So how are you going to differentiate yourself from the other 999? Well, certainly you're not going to differentiate yourself and win by saying, well, I'm exactly the same as everyone else. So you have to find that point of difference.
So Dave, before we jump into how you've marketed your book to grow your business, I just want to ask one more question, really on the topic of your book. So many of our authors listening are these entrepreneurs and business owners that are probably facing this exact same challenge of, okay, how do I differentiate? What do I do? Maybe you can give just a couple of takeaway tips for anybody that's listening, that a few action items that they could take back into their business that could really make a difference.
Well, the first thing that we help people do is to define with real blistering clarity who their target market is. Because if you target everybody, you don't really understand what they need or want. So that's the first step, is define who your target market is. Then you go through a process of saying, if I was that target market and I was shopping for your services, what would be on my shopping list? So to use my realtor example, if I was looking for a realtor, what would be the things that I would look for in a realtor? Well, their market knowledge, or their technical savvy, or their ability to sell, or their understanding of my neighborhood, or maybe the brand of the real estate firm that they're associated with, and there's a long list of things. And what we say is that you have to be good at all of those things that would be on the customer shopping list. But what we advise people to do is find one thing that becomes your superlative. So be, for example, the most technically savvy realtor, or be a realtor who specializes in marketing a certain kind of home, or be a realtor who specializes, for example, in a particular neighborhood and dominate that neighborhood. And this is the process we take people through. The book provides a step-by-step way to do it. And whether you're an individual realtor, or you're a big company, or you're a nonprofit, you have to do this.
So, Dave, let's talk about the book. Obviously, you are preaching the message of differentiation to your clients every single day. Not only do you have a unique message, but now you have differentiated yourself as a speaker, as a consultant, as an executive thought leader by being the author of a book. Share with us some of the ways, and I know that there's a couple of specific marketing strategies that you've employed that I really want to go in depth in, but maybe kind of big picture, share with our listeners what the book has done for your business kind of in the first 6 months since it's been released.
Well, Adam, when I started Shift Points a little over 6 years ago, one of my board members sat me down over breakfast and he said, Dave, you need to develop a methodology and you need to write a book. I remember driving home just kind of demoralized, like, wow, write a book, like about what? Because I had just started the company. So I've worked for a really long time now, 6 years, on refining this methodology. And as it pertains to the book, this was the first step, because you have to have something to say. You have to have something to say that needs to be said, that's being unique and different from all the other business books out there. And so for us, that started with the development of the methodology. We also started writing a blog. And so I've written a blog that's called Shift Points every Monday for 6.5 years. And that discipline of writing provided for us the foundation of the content, combined with the development of the methodology. Now we had something to put in a book. It was a matter of packaging it in a way where that book was interesting and new and different and relevant to people in the target audience we were going after. And so then after publishing the book, we had a ton of fun with the launch of the book. We issued press releases. We have had a marketing and PR campaign that's gone out on a monthly basis. We did videos to publish the book. I was very blessed to have been able to secure an endorsement by Dr. Ken Blanchard, the author of The 1 Minute Manager, and that was extremely helpful to us. We had a bunch of book launch parties. We even created special Pettifor chocolates that had a replica of the book cover. We had a ton of fun with it.
Well, I want to go a little bit further into the launch parties first. And I want you to tell us a little bit. I know that you did multiple parties, so I want you to tell our listeners what your thinking was there and kind of where you did them, when you did them, who did you invite, what was the goal of the party. But I also want to just key in on something that you said. You said, it's really fun. And I just want to make a point that, at the end of the day, writing and publishing a book is a smart thing to do from a business perspective. It can help generate a positive ROI. But at the same time, it can be something that's extremely joyful, gratifying, and fun to do. And so as you market your book, if you can figure out ways to make all of those things fun, it makes it easier, and it just, the time goes by so much quicker because you're actually having fun doing it. So I just really want to kind of praise you and say that, the fact that you were able to make it fun is a missing ingredient that a lot of authors don't get.
Well, don't get us wrong. It was a ton of work also, but we had fun doing it. And the book launch parties, one of our close friends volunteered to host it at their house, and we invited a number of our friends and colleagues and clients and all kinds of people. And as I mentioned, we actually had 3 of these at various locations, and it was just so much fun to be able to have these an opportunity to reconnect with everybody, and a lot of long-lost friends came. One guy from high school I hadn't seen for 25 years came to the party, and a lot of things like that. And at the end of the day, the book was just a good excuse to throw a fun party, and so we had a lot of fun with it.
Well, you make a good point, Dave, and that is that, reconnecting with people, I don't know, we as human beings just think we need a reason why. It's not like you're going to just call somebody out of the blue to say hello. You want a reason why to call them out of the blue. And, authoring a book is a great reason why to connect and reconnect with not only friends but colleagues and former customers and vendors and strategic partners. I think, more authors should make sure they're using their book as a reason why in reconnecting.
Yeah, and to your point, have fun with the book, because it's let's say it this way: there's thousands and thousands of consultants, but there's not many who have written one book, and we've written 2, and now working on the 3rd one, and it's really helped to differentiate us from the thousands of other consultants that are out there. The other thing that's been really rewarding is that people have really enjoyed the book. And the feedback I get, the emails that we receive, the ratings on Amazon, all those things have been just really rewarding. And that's, at the end of the day, it's a business investment, but it's also a personal investment, and it's just gratifying that the book has been so helpful to so many.
Dave, at the launch parties, did you give the book away? Did you sell?
Oh, yeah, we gave it away. And matter of fact, I think that's the right way to do it. We told people it's a party, but it's not an Amway party. You don't have to buy anything to show up. And so when I first decided to publish the book, Adam, in my mind, what I had written was a hardback brochure. And my strategy was to give them away. Now, obviously, we want to sell books, and it's nice to sell books, and it's been fun to get a royalty check every now and then. But in my mind, what I had written was a hardback brochure. So I'm perfectly willing. As a matter of fact, I'm probably way better at giving away books than I am at selling them.
Yeah, I'm kind of famous, Dave, for telling our authors that the biggest mistake that they make is not giving their book away, because I'm sure in your business, one new consulting client could be worth tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to your business.
Well, that's exactly right, Adam. Matter of fact, before we published the book, we created a 30-page preview that I emailed to our distribution list as a teaser. Based on that 30-page preview, before the book even came out, we won a brand new client, and the revenue from that brand new client, in fact, paid for everything associated with the book. So the book had a positive ROI before it was even published. So now we're on gravy money.
Wow, that's cool. With the launch parties, Dave, did you have any specific business outcomes in terms of new clients, reactivated clients, referrals that came from that. And the reason I ask is I can already hear the listener that's going through their mind saying, oh, geez, this party's going to cost so much money, and, oh, man, I've got to give away a couple $100. Oh, this is going to just cost so much money. So what would you say to the person that's already trying to justify why they can't afford to do this book launch party?
Well, I think the word cost is wrong. These are investments that we made, and you evaluate them like any other investment. Did they produce a return? And some of the return was financial, and yes, it's led to referrals and clients and all kinds of other things. But some of the rewards, frankly, have been psychological and just emotionally for me and for our team that was involved in helping to create the books. And, so there's been lots of payback. And the financial payback was just one of those.
I want to talk about a strategy. Before we get to the big piece of the call, which is the partner program, I want to talk about another very, very advanced strategy that you used in the book that I wish more authors would do because it works. And that is that throughout the book you have a number of case studies. And some of the case studies are client companies, and others are just big notable companies that everybody would know. And you sent the book to all of the people that you had profiled in the book, and you had shared with me that a lot of those companies bought large bulk quantity purchases of your book. They are now giving your book away, in essence, to kind of brag about themselves. You mentioned that some of your clients had done book parties, and, of course, the big concept here is that your clients are essentially marketing you on their behalf.
Well, that's right. So, and that's been a lot of fun. At the end of the day, as a consulting firm, we want to help our clients grow. Our best clients have doubled, tripled, or quadrupled since applying this methodology about decide one thing, align everything, and win. So we have the stories to tell. And in the book, we have a little setup that says, for example, there's thousands of companies that provide accounting services, thousands of companies that provide human resources services, and there's thousands more that provide IT. But there's only one that provides all three, and that's Neosystems. And that's they're neosystemscorp.com. They're a local company here in the Washington, D.C. area that's been a client of ours. And they provide back office services to government contractors and nonprofits and commercial companies as well. And they've done fantastically well. And they were very gracious and excited about being in the book. And so they bought over 100 copies and have, in effect, used the book as a brochure for their company, because it not only does the book validate my credibility, but it validated theirs.
Well, that is just such a smart idea, and so many people and so many businesses will never be featured in a book. And so if they were to be featured in a book, the reaction that people have and the lengths that they will go to tell everybody that they know about it is extreme. If somebody's in a movie, you tell everybody that, oh, my God, I'm in this movie. You've got to go watch the movie. Well, the same is true with the book.
Yes, and it's been a lot of fun for my clients who have been featured in the book to be a part of the movement with us. And I'm very grateful for them, of course, for their work of helping me promote it.
So Dave, let's shift now to one of the biggest ways that you've used the book to build your business, and that's building a partner program. So what I'd love for you to do now is kind of share with our listeners the problem, if you will, that your business faces in terms of, as a consultant, you don't want to live on an airplane. Share with us what the book started to do in your business, and then kind of share the innovative solution, which of course is the partner program, how it came to exist, the purpose of it, and what it has the potential to do to your business.
Yes. As we prepared ourselves for the launch of the book, it became obvious, of course, that not everyone who read the book was going to be here in the Washington, D.C. area. And so we had to think through a strategy of how we were going to serve clients who came to us from other locations. You know, we knew it was going to happen. So what we decided to do was to follow a relatively non-traditional model, and that is to license the methodologies that we have that take clients through this decide one thing, align everything, win process, license them to other consultants who can use them as part of their practice to help their clients. And so, for example, we got a call very early on from a company in Huntsville, Alabama, who read the book. Actually, it was one of our clients who gave their clients the book, and that was back to the thing we were speaking about a few minutes ago. And that new company called us and wanted us to help them go through their decide one thing process and help them sort through what their differentiating competitive advantage was going to be. And we helped them for a while on the phone, but at some point it became obvious that they needed more help than we could provide by the phone. And so that really validated this idea of signing up local consultants who agree with our methodology and want to use that as part of their practice. And, in fact, we're launching that partner program here this month, and we're looking forward to working with a wide variety of other independent consultants that want to be part of the ShiftPoints team.
Well, the neat thing to me is, having worked with so many consultants, there's a lot of consultants that don't have a unique, differentiated brand. The content that they have is me too, and they're highly capable, competent people. But being able to align and essentially be certified consultants in your methodology with your content is a complete win-win, because they get essentially a marketing system and proprietary content that's unique, and what you get are competent consultants all throughout the country that can serve clients locally that you don't want to get on an airplane to fly to.
That's exactly right, and so we're looking for those kinds of people. But yes, if you're an independent consultant, there's thousands of things on your to-do list. You know, you have to build a brand, you have to build a marketing campaign, you have to be out and about selling, you have to develop a methodology, you have to deliver the work, you have to actually do the consulting and cook the food, as we say, and you got to run the business. And so it's being an independent consultant is a lot of fun, and it can be very rewarding, but it's a ton of work. And so, as we say, these consultants can go it alone and do it themselves, or they can become part of the ShiftPoints team, and I think it's not only going to be a lot better for them, more fun for them, it'll help them differentiate their services from the hundreds or thousands of other consultants who are banging around in their business world.
And the book was really the catalyst that created this not only idea but also opportunity.
Well, that's exactly right. In fact, we launched a partner program 2 years ago before the books, and it didn't really get off the ground. It was maybe the right idea but the wrong time. And so the book has provided us the catalyst for relaunching the program, and we're very confident that it'll take off this time, and we're already seeing it.
Dave, you're a strategy guy. Most guys that graduate from Harvard Business School are strategy guys. Describe for our listeners the approach that you took in aligning your book with your business goals. And the reason I want you to talk about that is because I think a lot of authors miss this point, and they're just so excited and they're in such a rush to write a book that they don't take the time to strategically say, how do I make sure every page, every chapter that I write strategically is aligned with an outcome that I desire in my business?
Well, I think this goes back to that breakfast meeting with my board member from way back 6 years ago. Because the first thing he told me was that I needed to develop a methodology. And that is the precursor to me, the prerequisite to having a book that has something to say. Because it's easy to write a book, just sit down at your computer and spend 1,000 hours writing, and you can create a book. But does your book have something to say? And so the critical component for us wasn't the book per se. It was the book as a vehicle to articulate in a way that was clear and compelling and differentiating the methodology that we've developed. And that was the secret. It was the methodology that preceded the book, and the hard work, the hard thinking, and the slogging of putting that together and testing it and validating it with clients so that when we launched the book, it wasn't a theory, it was real. And we could talk about client stories and the success that our clients have had, and that made all the difference in the world.
Well, and I guess the big secret is really that, as you just said, any entrepreneur, any professional can do this because we all have systems and processes that we follow in our business. It's just rare that the business identifies exactly what it is, creates a unique name and really kind of a unique marketing system around it, trademarks it, and then really makes that methodology and system something that they actively promote and talk about.
Yeah, and we've tried to apply what we say in the book to our own business. We're good at lots of things, but we're great at taking our clients through this process of helping them decide what their differentiating competitive advantage is going to be, and then aligning everything in the business with that. So we have this model that we call the 100 points of alignment. And because it's not enough to, have an off-site meeting and sit there with a flip chart stand and write something down on a piece of paper that you think is going to be your differentiation. That's just words on a piece of flip chart paper. What you need to do is make that real. And that's why we use the phrase, we want you to become differentiatingly great. Because it's not just differentiating that's the important thing, is that you have to be great at it. And that's what we've tried to do at Shift Points, and what we try to help our clients do is find that point of difference, use that as a catalyst for the transformation of the organization and the alignment of everything with that idea, and that's what's produced the results, double, triple, or quadruple revenue.
Dave, considering the other ways that you market your business, and I'm sure there's many. And, of course, you started Shift Point 6 years ago, so until the book came out, there were a variety of things that you were doing to market and acquire new customers. How would you compare the book to all of those other things in terms of results?
Well, the book is the credibility layer on top of all those other things. We still do email, and we have a website, and, we go out and talk to clients, and we do all the things that you do to market yourself. But the book it not only differentiates us, but it provides a level of credibility that we didn't have before. Because the fact of the matter is clients or potential clients look at that book, and they immediately put us in a different category from everybody else they're talking to. And so it's not so much that the book has been a new thing per se. It's been the additional level of credibility that it's brought to us on top of everything else we were already doing.
So you're saying that the book has made all the other things that you do more effective?
Exactly right. So if you go to our website, the first thing you're going to see is a banner about the book. And then you're going to see a banner about the second book. And then you're going to see a banner about the fantastic quote that Dr. Ken Blanchard provided. And then you're going to see testimonials from our clients. But the book is where it starts. And, what we tell our clients is, look, any consultant worth their salt has a worldview and a methodology. And here's ours. And we give them the book. And we say to them, if this resonates with you, the ideas in this book, this sense of intense focus, that it's better to dominate one market than dabble in a dozen of them and be great at something and differentiate it. If that resonates with you, well, then maybe we're the firm that you should work with. And if not, well, then that's good. There's thousands of other consultants, and you should pick one of them.
I know in the consulting business especially, referrals are the lifeblood of your business because, of course, if you help a client succeed, they're probably going to tell all of their friends who are probably also running businesses as either operator owners or executives. How, if any, have you used the book to stimulate or grease the wheels of referrals amongst your existing clients?
Well, as I mentioned, our clients have used the book in their marketing. So one of our clients sent an email to, I think they have like 20,000 people on their email list that talked about how proud they were to have been featured in this book. So, now that's real leverage if your clients are doing the marketing for you.
Yeah, that's really cool. I got to ask about ROI because that's, of course, one question that so many authors have is, if I'm going to invest time and the money to do a book, am I going to get an ROI on this? Are you able to pinpoint a specific ROI for your book, Dave?
Yes. First of all, for any of you listeners who heard my dogs behind me, I'm working out of my house today because of our 9 inches of snow in D.C., so that was my dog Snuggles, if you heard him. But the ROI of the book, as I mentioned, we had a positive return on investment before the book was even published. And, that came from as a result of the 30-page teaser that we emailed out. And so all the rest of it has just been, super positive on top of that. The other thing that it's helped us with, Adam, has to do with public relations and media coverage. Because, as you know, there's thousands of consultants out there and whatnot, but the book has allowed our PR team to position me and our firm in a different way. And, reporters get bombarded with potential stories, and the book has helped us differentiate our message and kind of who we are from the, thousands of other stories. And we're starting to see some really nice coverage that's come as a result of that as well. So the book's helped us with some really nice local stories and starting to build a national reputation around that too, and that's been fun.
We're beginning to kind of get our back against the clock here. I've got 2 more questions. The first being any kind of takeaway tips that you have for the author that's just getting started.
Well, I would say, number 1, apply this concept of differentiation to your book. So we wrote the book in a very unique style. People have told me that it's, really unusual, the writing style, the way our approach, the way we package the book, and whatnot. And I think that would be the first thing I would advise your authors to do, is to think about how am I going to differentiate my book. The second thing I would say is to make sure that you really have something interesting to say, because you don't want people to read your book and then disagree with it or think it was bad or boring or poorly conceived or whatnot. So I would advise authors not just to think about writing a book, but think about writing a great book, a book that people want to read. So I just got a really nice review on Amazon from someone who said, I've started hundreds of books, but Decide One Thing is the only book I've finished in a long time. Now, that was really rewarding. But that came from the basic premise of how we're going to differentiate this book from the hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of other books. So, you have to develop your voice. You have to have something compelling to say. You have to differentiate yourself. And I think the last thing I would say is to summarize where I started, is that you have to find a publisher who understands the process and is willing to work with you to accomplish your objectives. And the Advantage team has been that for us.
Dave, the big word that you shared with me, and you shared it in this call, but I want to come back to it as my last question, and that is leverage. And you said to me at one point, you said, Adam, the reason I'm doing this book is because I think that this book has the power to create leverage in my business that few other things can. And so it's really a two-part question. The first is, has it created the leverage that you had hoped it would? And then secondly, what would you say to an author who has that same goal in terms of, again, tips or ideas to make sure that they can get that leverage from the book that they hope for?
Well, the book has certainly provided leverage, and I'm confident as we launch the nationwide partner program that it will really provide that in a exponential way, the leverage that we were looking for. So I'm confident that the book is going to provide that. It already has, and we're really excited about where it's going to take us.
And I know that with the term leverage comes scalability, and you had said that the only way that I can create a company that is scalable is not to be in the center of that business. And you were sharing that with the book, not only building your omnipresence and just creating an aura and a layer of credibility that you mentioned, but also, whereas before most of your clients were in Washington, D.C., now that you've got a book with national reach, you've got phone calls coming in from other states, and you're very soon going to have a very large customer base, and then, of course, using the book to get all the consultants nationwide to serve them.
Well, and we had a really fun picture come to us not long ago from a gentleman in China who took a selfie of him holding our book, so that was fun. But, as I mentioned to you, I have 2 million air miles, and I don't really want to live on airplanes. And while many of the Advantage authors are focused on building a speaking business, we decided to pursue a different strategy to create the leverage. And it's not that we don't do speaking, it's that's a secondary part of our strategy. And the primary strategy is trying to train and certify other consultants to use this methodology so that they can help their clients become differentiatingly great at their one thing. And, I don't think any of that would have been possible without the book. As I mentioned, we tried 2 years ago before the book, and it didn't work. But this time we're really confident.
Dave, I know that a lot of our listeners may want to reach out to you or to your company. Number one, I encourage everybody to purchase the book, which you can do at Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Books A Million. Again, his 2 books are Decide One Thing, and his second book is titled Shift Points, which is also the name of the company that you run. But if any of our listeners wanted to connect with you or somebody in your company to learn more, any websites or emails or phone numbers that you might be able to share with our listeners?
Sure. Well, our website is shiftpoints.com, pretty easy to find, and you can send us an email to start@shiftpoints.com, and that'll go to our team, and we'll work to help you based on what that request is. And we're the other thing I would say is that we publish our blog, Shift Points, every Monday, and we've found that that's been a really great way for people to learn more about the Decide One Thing concept. Our blog, they're short, 100 words or less. Our benchmark is that you have to be able to read them on your phone at a red light. And so they're written in the same kind of short, punchy style as the book, and I would encourage anybody who was looking to grow their business to subscribe to the Shift Points blog.
Dave, I want to thank you. This has been an incredible call. More great ideas flowing from our own authors. Of course, I hope every one of the listeners will take these ideas, incorporate them in their own book and their own business so they can prosper. On behalf of Advantage author Dave Ramos, I'm Adam Whitty, and I want to thank you again for listening to this month's Author Success University teleseminar presented by Advantage Media Group. To have your book or book concept considered for publishing by Advantage, visit us online at AdvantageFamily.com. And make sure you tell us that you tuned into this Author Success University teleseminar for a complimentary discovery consultation. Until next time, take care, and thanks again for listening. Bye-bye.